we have our next presentation, which is looking at changing individual debt behaviour. And thank you very much. And hopefully it's just as good a conversation.
Just checking. All right. That's me, Hossain Mohammed. I'm an ethnographer. So I live in the community and I put dirt on my pants. So I'm not a kind of researcher who work in air conditioning and design your research method. So actually go there and I try to mix with them and then try and draw my research method. That's how I work. So it's not something like, you may not find it methodology-wise very friendly, but we try to fight every day to change people's behavior who are very vulnerable. So I love to work in the bottom of the pyramid. So people who are struggling and see if marketing theory can change their life. That's the purpose. So yeah. There are three very basic research questions. Okay, we have a project. We're going to run this project for 3 years and see some changes in started with the downstream and then midstream, but we didn't have the audacity to move up to upstream. So, but that's our next target. All right. So, social marketing project is not very new in developing countries because people want to do research for rich people. So people in the bottom of the pyramid, is very difficult to get funding from the top funding agency. So what I did was I went to my people that I know and they actually put money in. These are all philanthropists. So they want to see how their product is having an impact in the community without doing the business research by their own employees, but by a third party. So that was quite an interesting one. So basically what happens there, I picked one most poorest community in the world. So I did the research. So basically they have nothing. Okay, so they rent the land of the rich landowners, and so we picked those kind of people, farmers, for a project. So yeah, so we have a 2 phase in our research. In the first phase, we try to find out the behavioral change in downstream, and then we move up to midstream and see the challenges. So that was the key idea. Yeah. I picked Ross Gordon's paper a lot because we teach together. So Ross told me, I asked them, Ross, this is what I do. And then he suggested me, because he's a kind of, when you work in vulnerable community, you have to be rebel. You have to be rebel. I mean, you have to have the audacity and guts and bravery to work with those kind of people. So it's not just changing behavior, but try to understand their rebellious behavior, having nothing but still surviving. Power game is there, politics is there. So these two, I leave it aside for a while, but we try to look into purely their individual change of behavior in downstream, and then when they operate in a group, in midstream, how the same struggles, changing behavior took place. Okay, so I did few conferences and papers in Society of Macro Marketing. It's in Canadian based. So I started my macro understanding of marketing in terms of research and working with the bottom of the pyramid. So it actually started from there. So you can see my 2024 paper. where I try to find out, with all 15 years of ethnographic experience, I realized that I think this is the time to use marketing theories in action. It's a very impactful kind of, so my literature is based on impacts. What happens? If I do that, yes, there'll be mistakes, but what really happened? So it's really finding out the impacts rather than whether this is right or wrong. So like I said, you have to just jump in, you need to do something about it. So that's how the literature review actually took place. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I have a story to tell. So that was the project. So he's my project supervisor. He looks after all those things, irrigation, seed, and this is a training group. They came from the city because they heard that there's a project going on. So they just jump in and they work with us. So they train farmers, all sorts of training on how to take care of the seeds, irrigation. That's our project actually. It's about 15 acres of land. So that's how we started. We give them free agricultural tools so that they don't have to sorry, I missed one thing. The key idea is to reduce the debt of these poor people. So we realized that because they've been working there for so many years, so if you give them free of this, so there is no cost in card, they can save money. So they borrow less from the lenders. That was the key purpose. So see the change of their debt behavior over time. So that's why we came up with this idea. So action researchers, like I said, I'm kind of ethnographer. So I started with living in the community for 3 months. I never took full-time teaching, and just because I started my PhD in 2006, I thought I can do more living there and coming Australia, teach and go back. So come and forth, so I actually live in the community. For example, I built my own toilet because toilet over there is not good, it's not usable. So I did that. I used the young people to build a toilet, to build a house. So I built up a rapport. So you need to do something rather than, because it is very hard to get acceptance. Why should they trust me to give information? So you need to get that respect. So I spent 3 months without asking any question about any questionnaire or anything whatsoever. So that's what happened at the first place. And then find out reasons for borrowing money and where that money is spent. So if you read articles on NGOs in Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, that zone, you're going to hear 99.99 article, they're successful. So this is another challenge. So I want to see actually if they borrow money, how they spend it. And then identify the value exchange relationship. Okay, I took the money, then am I developing relationship with some other stakeholders, who they are, find it out. Then you give the tractor and the product and the project. Don't start your project in the first place. This is our learning. And then measure the behavior change and learning outcome feedback and make more changes and start in next year. So we follow this process for phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So that's me. We started with living in the community. So I do a lot of farming with them, 3 months, holding very toxic fertilizer and pesticide. But if you don't do that, they don't trust you. So I took the risk, so I actually worked with them. And then you do a lot of focus group, but it has to be in a natural setting. It means that you cannot record, or you just talk and you memorize. Quickly go to your journals and you write. So if you do writing, they get scared. So you have to be very careful about the location you do research. So I was very careful on this one, and then hundreds of hours of talking to them in a different situation. That's very important. You can't, this is important that these landless people go through different events. That's why they're poor. So if you don't capture what is happening on those individual events, you're losing very important data. All right, so kind of participatory fieldwork and depth focus group, observation, recording in that, because at certain point of time, when you have that trust, they will allow you to record. But the trust has to be there. Otherwise, this kind of action research, I don't know how it works, but to me, we can have data, but that data will not be highly representative to actually what they do. Cognitive science is one thing, but what they do is very different. So I use a lot of event sequencing mapping. So something happened in one event, like when you are a movie director, you have a storyboard, right? So you have themes, but that themes is not determined by me. So if there's an event took place, I go and talk. Therefore, you have to be there. You can't leave your terminal. So a lot of event sequencing map and a lot of manual network mapping. You draw who is communicating with. You keep arrows and stuff like a mind map, yeah? So two simple methodology I used here. And this is what happened in downstream behavioral change. Reduce personal debt. In first round, we give them this agricultural tools, but they grow only rice. Okay? So remember, they grow only rice. So to grow rice, whatever you need, we give them. That's our project. So literally, they have no cost. So their personal debt, they reduced because some rice they keep, some rice they sell. So with that selling, with that income, they pay their previous debt. So debt has reduced, improved mental health. It means that, the man on the field growing crops, bringing home, or you can take it to the market. But this case, they take it home, and the wife can run those rice, use those rice for the whole year, food requirement at home, the families and all. So the women at home, they're in a mental peace. That is very important. Behavioral change we observed. Animal husbandry with the rice paddock, right, straws. They use this for food for their, animals. Yeah, strong belief. It's a very strong Muslim community. Taking interest is forbidden. So because they're not taking any interest, they have a very solid, strong belief. So what I say, what I do, it match with their religious belief. In that way, that was a bit strong. Further availability, animal husbandry. So the cow, they produce milk every morning, send it to the market, sell it, bring back some daily groceries, food security around the year. So this behavioral change based on this kind of, is a very strong outcome in our project. So individually you are happy. The wife is happy, the husband is happy, the kids are happy. They open up a shop. Someone with that money open a shop. Someone can rent another more equipments if they need to. So what happened after 2 years of downstream project? The farmers came to us and tell us that we are not making enough money. Can we use your tools to grow cash crop? Then we realized, okay, because when you are in action research and you're looking for something to happen, because they don't want to continue with rice anymore, so we have to. So what happened here is important, significant. The whole family member is actually came out of the homestead. It means that women, they're very conservative. But this cash crop bring them out. The size of the market expanded, and someone is actually selling their crops or produce to a local wholesaler. So not just keeping or growing, they become a trader. That's very important because you need to negotiate all sorts of things. So start from there, decline of women's health because women works there and this maize or corn crops need to be dried out in very hot and humid weather. Otherwise, if you don't dry it properly, your price of your crop goes very minimum. So the mother, they cannot produce enough milk for their babies. So that was something unprecedented borrowing. It is a strong behavioral change. They borrow a lot to buy fertilizer and other things. So we give them everything, but on the top of that, they need other money for fertilizer because it's a cash crop. Feeling financially empowered, but is very importantly what we find that, I didn't keep the photo here, they love to count money. They never count money because they're so poor. So when you sell produce to someone, you cash and you count, it means that something is happening in my life. I no longer belong to someone, don't call me, I'm very poor. I'm counting money. So that's a massive change that we found in round 3. We come to find out that this product produce a lot of oil to the local ditches and the canals. They use the cobs for energy. So all sorts of behavioral change took place because they see a lot of benefits and also negatives in that. I'm running out of time. So the one thing I want to mention here, the behavioral of change is economies of shame. It means that they are lying to the lenders. They're saying that we're going to buy fertilizer, but they are buying clothes for their kids. So basically what is happening is they have that guilt. So I think that economies of shame, pretension, manipulation, telling lies, they start happening a lot in the community. When third round, this is a person, Mr. Sadek. This beginning of the crop season, this is how his network looks like. End of the season, this is how the networks looks like. That means he start building up more relationship because he need to borrow money. So he's becoming a tool to make money by the other NGOs. But remember, NGOs are making money, he's becoming under debt. So basically, that's the negative of the project, a project unable to take them out from the debt in the midstream. It's a peer pressure, all sorts of things. And then as a project coordinator, what we found is the key challenge. Farmer prioritize immediate access to cash. So it's no longer cultivation. It's about reason to take money from the lenders. It was something shocking for us, and this photo tells thousands of stories. This is what happened. This is the rice haze, and this is the corn. So you can see that the community is actually switching from rice to maize, so our traditional crop to cash crop. And doing that, now we are thinking as a project. This year I could not run the project because morally I'm just asking myself, is it okay to keep it going and put them into huge burden? So I think, that's how I want to end it. Yeah, thank you for that. Question? Yes.